My name is Carson. For years, I've been called by another name, though. Well, not just one, but many hurtful ones, actually. Words like idiot, worthless, or incompetent. I'd nearly forgotten how to answer to my own name because when you're told something often enough, it's easy to start to believe what you are told. I had nearly lost my own identity, especially when the hurtful words are coming from the one person who has power over your livelihood. That person for me was my boss, Max. Max hadn't always been cruel, though. At least not that I knew of when I first started at La Maison, an upscale French restaurant downtown. During my interview, he was professional and businesslike, the kind of manager who seemed to run a tight ship. He used to say I had potential and good instincts when I first started. That was years ago, before time wore down the edges of his compliments and twisted them into something else. He had a way of reminding everyone of all the things he thought we lacked. Carson, is that how you fold a napkin? Do you think our customers pay $200 a meal to have their napkins look like they were folded by a child? Sorry, I'll redo them right away. Yeah, you better. I swear I don't know why I keep you around. A trained monkey could do better. Something in Max was fundamentally broken. To him, none of us were people worth respecting. We were collections of flaws, as he saw it. The servers were too slow, the food runners too clumsy, the bartenders too generous with pours. And me? I wasn't attentive enough, fast enough, or smart enough for his standards. I should have left, but I stayed because I needed the job, and La Maison was one of the best restaurants in the city, a place that could open doors for my future. Somewhere along the line, I started seeing myself through his eyes, and the world got darker. Every day, I would get up, iron my uniform, try to ignore the sinking feeling in my chest, and brace myself for the barrage of his words. Honestly, Carson, don't you care about your job? You're not even trying. Table 7 has been waiting for their check for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Do you think they want to sit there all night? I'm sorry. I just delivered their desserts and was giving them a moment before bringing the check. If any of us tried to defend ourselves, his voice would only grow sharper. You think I don't know how to run a restaurant? They're not here for your timeline. They're here for excellent service. And you know what? The other managers laugh at my staff. They say I've got the worst crew in the business, especially you, Carson. You're the weakest link here. That's not fair. I've been working hard and my tips have been increasing. Tips? You think that means anything? Those people are just being nice. They feel sorry for you. Unlike you, I could hire someone 10 times better tomorrow. When he grew bored of his lectures on how we weren't good enough, he would resort to public humiliation. He would berate servers in front of customers, make cooks redo dishes that were perfectly fine, and once even made Ellie, one of our newest servers, cry during the middle of a busy Friday night rush. Ellie, what is this? The salmon goes to table 12, not 14. Are you illiterate as well as incompetent?
I'm sorry,
You just what? Just decided to completely ignore the ticket? Just decided to ruin someone's dinner? Just decided to make us look like amateurs? I watched as Ellie's eyes welled up with tears, her hands trembling as she tried to fix her mistake. Max didn't care. He continued berating her until she had to rush to the bathroom, mascara streaking down her face. This wasn't unusual. Max had a special talent for finding people's weaknesses and exploiting them. There was Tony, who Max mocked for his accent, Mia, who Max said was too old to be a waitress, and James, whose stutter got worse whenever Max was around. We were all trapped in the same nightmare, but the tips were good, and in this economy, none of us could afford to leave without something else lined up. Then, one night, everything changed. I had stayed late to help with inventory, not because Max asked nicely, but because he threatened to cut my shifts if I didn't. The dining room was empty, the kitchen cleaned, and most of the staff had gone home. I was in the wine cellar counting bottles when I heard voices coming from Max's office. Curious, I moved closer to the door that connected the cellar to the back hallway. Through the crack, I could see Max and a man I didn't recognize exchanging envelopes. Money was clearly changing hands, far more than would be normal for any restaurant business. I watched as Max opened a safe behind a painting, a safe none of us knew existed, and pulled out several packages wrapped in plastic. Drugs, I realized, with a shock. Our boss was using the restaurant as a front for dealing. I must have made a noise, because suddenly Max's head snapped up, his eyes narrowing as he scanned the room. I ducked back into the wine cellar, my heart pounding, but it was too late. The door flew open, and there was Max, his face twisted with rage.
Carson, what did you see?
Nothing. I was just finishing inventory.
Don't lie to me. I know that look. You saw everything, didn't you?
For once, I didn't cower. Something about knowing his secret gave me a strange kind of power. Yeah, I did. And I'm pretty sure the police would be very interested too.
Listen to me very carefully. You breathe a word of this to anyone, and you'll never work in this city again. I've got connections everywhere.
Maybe. Or maybe you go to jail, and I find a job where the boss isn't a complete psychopath. I could see the calculations happening behind his eyes. He needed me to stay quiet, and he knew threats alone wouldn't work anymore.
Okay, let's be reasonable here. What if I make it worth your while? Better shifts, better sections, maybe even a promotion to head server. You keep quiet and suddenly your life gets a lot easier. Deal?
I should have said no. I should have walked straight to the police. But I thought about my rent, my student loans, my struggling bank account. And I nodded. The change was immediate. The next day, Max was cordial to me, even friendly. He gave me the best tables, complimented my work in front of others, and even invited me to taste new dishes with the chef. But his cruelty toward everyone else continued unabated, perhaps even intensified.
Tony, this table has been waiting for water for 10 minutes. Are you trying to dehydrate our customers? Sorry, sir, I don't want excuses. Just do your job right for once.
Then, turning to me with a smile,
Carson, would you mind helping Tony out? Show him how it's done properly.
The others noticed the change. How could they not? Whispers started in the break room, theories about why I was suddenly Max's favorite. Some thought I was related to him somehow, others suspected something more inappropriate. Ellie was the only one brave enough to ask me directly.
What's the deal with you and Max? Last month he was threatening to fire you, and now you're like his pet.
It's nothing. I guess he just realized I'm good at my job.
Right. Because the rest of us are just terrible, is that it?
The guilt was eating me alive. Every shift, I watched my colleagues suffer while I thrived. I started avoiding their eyes, making excuses to take breaks alone, anything to escape the weight of my betrayal. This wasn't who I wanted to be. Then fate intervened. A friend from culinary school called with an opportunity. A new restaurant opening across town, looking for an experienced server to move up to management. It was everything I'd been working toward. A chance to build something positive and escape Max's toxic influence. I got the job, and with my future secured, I made a decision. Max's drug deals happened every Thursday night, like clockwork. The next Thursday would be my last shift at La Maison, and I was going to make it count. On Wednesday, after my shift, I asked Max to lend me $10,000. He hesitated at first, but eventually handed it over, with no written agreement. I smiled and left. The next evening, I performed my duties with a smile, knowing it would be the last time I'd have to fake pleasantries in that place. As closing time approached, I watched Max retreat to his office, right on schedule. I waited 20 minutes, then slipped into the bathroom and made the call. The police arrived silently, but the commotion was inevitable once they entered. I heard Max's office door slam, footsteps pounding down the hallway. He was running toward the kitchen's back exit, and I was standing right in his path. Our eyes met for just a moment, and I knew instantly that he'd figured it out. The rage in his expression was unlike anything I'd seen before. Pure, unfiltered hatred. He changed direction, coming straight for me.
You did this, you ungrateful piece of...
I backed away, moving deeper into the kitchen as he advanced. The police were shouting somewhere behind us, but Max was focused only on me, his hands outstretched like claws. I circled around the prep tables, trying to keep distance between us.
I made you. I gave you everything, and this is how you repay me?
You're a monster, Max. You deserve everything that's coming to you. He lunged at me, and I sidestepped, my instincts for navigating tight spaces kicking in. His momentum carried him forward, and his foot caught on a floor mat that had curled at the edge. Time seemed to slow as he pitched forward, arms windmilling, straight toward the fryer station that had been left on for cleaning. I reached out instinctively to grab him, but it was too late. Max plunged face first into the hot oil, his scream cutting through the chaos of the kitchen. The police reached us moments later, pulling him out and calling for an ambulance. The damage was done, though, his face and upper body severely scalded, the skin already blistering and discolored. As they led him away, moaning in agony, our eyes met one final time. In that moment, I felt no satisfaction, no revenge, only relief that his reign of terror was finally over. The aftermath was a blur of police statements and witness interviews. La Maison closed temporarily, then reopened under new management. The staff stayed on, bonding over our shared trauma and building something healthier together. I started my new job, carrying the lessons of what not to do as a leader. Max survived his injuries, but the burns left him permanently disfigured. The court showed little mercy for his drug operation. He was sentenced to 15 years, and the last I heard, he wears a mask in prison, not just to hide his scarred face, but as a symbol of the man he truly was all along. A facade of respectability, concealing something monstrous beneath. Sometimes I wonder if I could have handled things differently, if there was a path that wouldn't have led to such violence. But then I remember Ellie's tears, Tony's humiliation, and all the others who suffered under Max's cruelty. He created his own fate through years of treating people as things to be used and discarded. If you don't subscribe in the next 5 seconds, absolutely nothing will happen. But wouldn't it be cooler if you did?